Welcome to Steps. Now the main points on this map are going to be this side here and this side here. You will see people in the middle, but mostly it's going to only be light tanks. There's no point of really going down the middle of the map unless you're trying to flank around someone and you know it's completely clear over here, which would be useful later on in the game. But even then, the middle is so exposed that I wouldn't recommend going across the middle at all. Unless you are in a light tank. Light tanks are going to be around here or even like around here, so mainly for light tanks in the mid, but everywhere else is going to be the heavy tanks, the medium tanks, the TD is going to be further back on here and around here, and even around here to try and kill the light tanks, and exactly the same for the other side here. The TDs are going to be back here and here, and you can also go back to here to actually support people that are around here for your heavy tanks and medium tanks and anyone else that is around here. So yeah, that's the basic kind of 30 seconds of this map. Let's now get into the spots. So the first light tank spot. This one is going to be one of my favourite spots to actually use. Make sure you use as much camo as is possible. So these bushes, these trees, whatever, actually getting to this spot. The first one is going to be this bush right here. If you are unspotted and you spot someone who's being a bit aggressive, then go to that bush there. However, if you can get into this bush right here, this bush is by far one of the best bushes for this side of the map. Disable the acceleration mode quickly. This bush right here, as you can see, look at the view range that you actually have. Anyone that shoots over here, you're going to spot because that's in your view range. Anyone that shoots over here, you're going to spot because it's in your view range. Anyone that is going into these bushes here, you're going to spot. And bearing in mind, once you get behind these bushes, you're relatively safe, so you can actually go into these bushes without being spotted. Combine this spot with like a camo net or something if you really want to. ELC even 90 in this bush with a camo net and camo crew. You have to get into proximity range to detect him. Which is unreal. Considering that thing, if you stick it with binos and camo net, 500 of view range. Anyone that goes into there to try and activate binos is going to be detected instantly because as soon as they peek out, they'll get detected. Sure, they might get binos off, and then that's a bit of an issue if you don't have enough camo rating, and they have quite good view range. But they're going to need like 500 odd view range to actually spot you from here, at least. To be able to actually have a good chance of spotting you. But yeah, this is the first spot. I highly recommend it. Any one of these bushes really along here, especially this bush here, which I'm going to show you in a second. This is like the most commonly used bush, and I don't really understand why, because one, it blocks off half your view range with the rock, although yes, the rock does give you hard cover from people. However, if you do know what you're doing with light tanks, then you can sit in this bush quite happily and not even get spotted. I've done this multiple times and only really got spotted when either I've made a mistake or have chosen to be spotted myself. So I've shot at an enemy and then I've run away. But yeah, there's been multiple times where the enemies have gone all past me down here, and they've been even along this ridgeline here, just below it. And I'm still unspotted and spotting all of these people. So this bush is insane. I wouldn't recommend it for the new player, but if you are experienced and you have a good crew on your light tanks, then check this bush out. And also blind fire all of these bushes if you're on the other team, because chances are the light tank's in there somewhere. So the next spot is this bush in here. Now you could do exactly the same as the other spot. Now this is more kind of beginner friendly. You can also even go into this bush like this, and sort of have the same view range, if not maybe slightly better, because you can actually see all the way down here. But I really do recommend that bush if you're experienced. But for the new player, go into this bush. Not only that, the reason why the other bush works a little bit better is because the light tanks have pretty solid cover coming all the way down here with this ridgeline. And once they get here, like, you're going to get detected because they're well within the 50 meters. and they'll just automatically proxy detect you. And if you're not far enough back, which is why I would recommend maybe sitting like this, as soon as you get detected, you can then back off down behind this rock and then shoot them as they're coming through. But as soon as you see someone trying to rush this, back off and just try and fight them, because you're going to get detected, and it's much better off being down here than it is up here in the open. So just keep that in mind. There is other bushes, such as that one over there, which I'll show you quickly now. The only problem with this bush over here is that it's relatively open for getting to it, and it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to. And once you get to here, the light tanks could have already got into position. And another thing that's quite bad with this bush here is, one, you're going to have to either spot one side or the other. You can't spot both. And this is an issue because this rock, although it gives you cover, it also hinders your actual view range. So there's no real point of kind of going to this rock unless you're later on in the game. And you know where everyone is, and they're all over this side, for example. Whereas that bush works very well in the first bit of the game. This, not so much, because you can only really spot a few things that are going on. Yes, this spot can work. Yes, you can get some good damage. However, this, along with that bush there, is like the most commonly blind fired bush like in the games. A lot of light tanks you'll see are either in this bush or that bush over there, so keep that in mind. Okay, so for the other side of the map, as you can see, we've got the fresh croissant in his duck. Very good. Thank you for helping me out today. But there are a few spots. The first spot that I'm going to show you is this one right here. The only problem with this one is that if you're actively scouting, if an enemy is actively scouting, you get spotted pretty instantly. Just because look how many bushes there are around here. There's hardly anything to actually give you cover to get into position. It's not like this spot here where you've got all of these bushes and trees to give you cover and then you come in. And by the time that you get around to here, like the enemy light tank is either you've spotted him, already coming to this bush where you can then just back off, or go up to this rock, do whatever. Or you've not spotted anyone and then he's already in this bush here and you get to here. So this bush here works well, apart from the fact that if someone's in that bush there and you go a little bit too far forwards, like you expose your wheels or your tracks or whatever. I can't believe I actually have to say wheels in a tanks game, but yep, whatever. Then they will detect you because the very front of your tank actually happens to be a detection spot for the vehicle. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this bush works quite well, although if you're going to do anything and you can get here before anyone and without anyone noticing, then you can use this bush and it's exactly the same as this bush here to be able to spot everyone that you need to see. So it works really well, and anyone that comes into that bush there, if you're in here, you spot them. Unless they have insanely good camo, then they can get into that bush and you won't really detect them. Unless they start moving around and stuff like that and go a little bit too far forwards. But this bush works very well. You can use that bush there as well, which is just going to be exactly the same as this bush here. But honestly, this bush is probably the best bush for this side. Not really. I mean, you can go to these bushes here, but then again, like, honestly, if you're going to go, you can either use this bush or this bush, okay, when you're going this side. And the same goes for this bit. You use this bush or you use this bush. You can then work out what works best for you and your type of playstyle. If you are a bit more of a risky player, then try and use this bush here, or alternatively this bush here. Although this bush doesn't have as much camo rating as this bush does here, just so you know. And on the other side, someone try this spot out, especially if you can get there undetected. If you can get there undetected, you can have a great game. The only way that you are going to get detected is if someone comes into 50 meters or they're in this bush with a lot of view range. For example, if an ELC even 90 is in that bush right now, I have 470 meters view range. I would not be able to spot him. That's how powerful that bush is. So even an EBR, you're not going to be able to spot it. Although EBR, I mean, let's be honest, like you can go into any bush. I mean, you could even probably get into their base before the light tanks gets there, but whatever. Let's move on to the medium tank, shall we? Okay, so for the medium tanks, the first spot that I'm going to show you is this spot here. And there is a little trick that I'm going to show you with the trees as well that you should do every single time you come here. You can use your TDs up here as well, but more so this is kind of a spot not just for TDs but for lightly armored medium tanks or medium tanks that can't really brawl. Now the first tree, as you can see, you've got these however many trees there are, I'm not going to count them, but you want to try and make an unicum nest. There you go. You want to try and make a nest sort of thing. So if you knock this tree down like this, as you are probably aware, all these trees will give you cover. So any fallen tree acts as kind of like a bush. So you can actually put all of these down like this. And then if you put this one towards the middle, like so, you will then have decent enough cover for you to be able to pull back. And completely solid. You can shoot through this and you shouldn't get detected from anyone that's over this side of the map. If someone's driving through the middle, then they probably will spot you because there are a few gaps. So if someone drives like this, for example, and gets really close, then probably they'll spot you. Although, you know, this isn't perfect how I've done it, but it's good enough. But yeah, you do this. The majority of people that you're shooting at is going to be around here or around, you know, down there. So you can just use this to your advantage, move around, get into a position and shoot through it. This spot, very self-explanatory, not really too much else to say. Yeah, use this in the game. I don't see enough people knocking down these trees, so, and there's no reason not to. You can also even use HE if you wanted to. So if you couldn't get up here in time, you could use HE, and HE works exactly the same way. You can do this to any tree at all. You can just go up to the tree. Let's try and find a tree, for example. Go up to this one, for example, shoot it, and then it will fall down. And the place that you shoot it depends on where it's going to land. For example, if I want this tree to actually go towards me, I could shoot it like this, and it will go towards me. So the explosion actually does work like in real life, with where objects fall and stuff like that. So yeah, you can use that to your advantage, and look at that, you've got some solid cover to shoot anyone that's over there. So yeah, let's move on to the next position. Okay, so the next position is going to be a little bit more risky. Also, never come up from the top here. I'm just doing this because I've come from that position there, but always come down here because then you've got less chance of being spotted. The next position is going to be a little bit risky, but if you pull it off, then it works great. This position right here, you might be like, well, I can't see anything. Yep, they can't see you either. And everyone that is going to be pushing down here is going to be going down this road like this. And as you can see, if we aim here, if you look at the minimap, I have a direct line of fire on anyone that's over here. So the reason why it's risky is because you open yourself up as you're coming across here. And if you get spotted, then it can be a problem. But if you do get spotted, just hide behind that rock. Wait, 10 seconds, 15 seconds just to be safe. In case you got spotted again right as you were going. And then just back off, go into here, and just go along this this stream. And you can even use it again to your advantage even more by going down the stream, and you should be relatively safe. Be warned, don't go too high up on this, because if you go too high up, then you will get detected by anyone sitting along here. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is a solid spot. I don't use this spot enough. I really should do. If you stick something like a 430U here as well, you see how this river is kind of not a lot, but it's a tiny bit shallower, obviously, with the water. So you can actually go sort of hole down, or at least your lower plate's going to be a lot less easy to hit. So if you're in a 430U and you go here, not only will you not get detected when you fire, but you also have pretty decent armor facing the enemy as well. So yeah, use this spot if you can. Okay, so this next spot is a little bit more of a fallback spot. If this side completely fails, and there's nothing you can do to save it, you can come back to this spot here. And I mean, if this side completely fails, not just like you lose one tank and then all of a sudden you go back to this spot and then your team dies because you weren't helping. I see that way too often. Like people go here at the start of the game as well. But this spot here will give you ample shooting ability for anyone that's coming through here. Anyone that's going through the middle of the map. And you can defend your cap with ease. You have complete vision over the cap. And on this side, there is 0 bushes in the cap. So if you go up here, you will spot whatever is in that cap. Without question. So, yep, this spot is insane for being a bit more defensive and going back to it. Also, you can go behind this rock, which I use quite a bit, where this will give you solid cover, and you can peek up, shoot, go back down, or even if you need to go around a little bit, then you can go down this side and shoot like that. It works quite well. This spot is very, very solid for falling back to. You'll see quite a few people actually fall back to this that are better players, that want to get more damage out the game, especially if this side is failing awfully. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, if you lose half your tanks and then they've still got all their tanks and your half tanks are nearly dead as well and they're pushing, it's time to move. But if you lose like one tank and it's not really a big deal and you're sitting on this hill, for example, shooting them, don't leave yet. Like, see how the game's going. You can still get away even if they get into this spot here. It's when they kill everyone here is when you need to really leave. Because there's no point trying to hold something up on this hill because you simply don't have enough cover. As you can see over here, it's super open. And if you get spotted, you are going to take damage and your only cover is really behind this hill. But if they're coming through here, you have no cover whatsoever. So if you notice that your team is losing badly and you are going to be overrun no matter what you do, then pull back, go all the way to the back and then go through these bushes and up here. That way you can get into this spot here or behind this rock and shoot people as and when they're spotted. You can even spot people as they're pushing forwards. So yeah, I didn't know whether to include this in the TD spot or not because, well, I mean, it's more of a medium tank spot because I wouldn't recommend a TD going here at the start of the game at all, or, you know, even later on in the game. Like there's plenty of spots around here that I'm not going to show because there's just way too many. Like, you can go behind this rock, you can go behind this rock, this one. Like, there's loads and loads of spots up here in these mountains that this other side just doesn't have. And not only that, there are a few bushes on this side, but there's nowhere near as much hard cover as there is on this side of the map. So honestly, if you're trying to attack this base and they're dug in well here, it's very hard to get them out. You're going to need people from all different sides to be able to do it. And if you don't win both sides of the map, then you're going to be in real trouble, because if they've still got people over here and you're all coming from this side, you're going to die. It's rare that I see people coming from this side and they only have people coming from this side that they win, because as soon as they get spotted, people up here, as you can see, have lots and lots of ability to shoot them. So please keep that in mind. If you're coming down from here, it's almost worth it to go into the middle of the map and try and do it that way. Don't come through like this. So yeah, that's a little tip for if you're attacking this side of the map. If you've got complete domination over the mid, go into here and try and get into these spots here behind the rocks, and at least then you'll have some cover to actually deal with them. Okay, so for the other side of the map, the first spot I'm going to show you is this spot right here. Early on in the game, if you can get here, then it's actually a really powerful spot, especially in something that does have good turret armor. You don't need too much gun depression to actually make this position work, but gun depression does of course help out. So from this position, as you can see, that is what that's what they will be able to spot. Yeah, so if you do everything that I said and knock down those trees, that's what they're going to be able to see. So yeah, super effective knocking down those trees. You should always do that, especially if you go into that position and you're going to be there for a little bit. So yeah, but this position right here, you'll be able to shoot anyone that is on this ridgeline here and anyone that gets spotted on the hill. So you'll be able to do that. And as you can see, all they'll be able to see is your turret. You can also pull back a little bit here and actually go around like this. And you'll be able to shoot anyone that is over here trying to peek up or even behind this rock. Another spot is over here, which works exactly the same almost as the other side. So you can go here. Also TDs will go here as well. So you could go incorporate this with your TDs as well. Exactly the same as the other side with the river. I'm not going to explain it again. It works well. Use this to your advantage. But yeah, that's pretty much it for medium tanks. Without like kind of going into the heavy tank territory, a lot of the medium tank spots you can go with the heavy tanks. Just simply because this map only really has two sides to it. And there's nowhere else for you to go. Like, you can't go down the middle of the map in a medium tank. It doesn't work. You can snipe and use more TD spots, which I'll go into. But again, I don't want to go and show you TD spots in a medium tank. Just because I want some spots to be for the TDs. So yeah. Overall, this map, medium tanks, you can always... You're the most flexible tanks in the game. You can go and do whatever you want. So yeah, let's move on to heavy tanks now. Okay, so for the heavy tanks. Now, this side of the map, I don't really like going to anymore, just simply because of some of the spots that I showed with the medium tanks. There's plenty of the spots where they can hide and you'll never spot them. Especially down the river or at the back of the map, you'll never spot these people. So that's why I don't really like going down here in heavy tanks. However, it does still work sometimes, so yep. The first bit that you got to watch out for is this spot right here. If you go past this and into this kind of like crater area or this ridgeline area, then you're going to have a very fast tank. And once you get here, it's almost impossible to leave. So if you go past this point, this is like the point of no return. Because if you go here and your team loses, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. You try and go back, everyone over here is going to shoot you. Because if you get here before everyone over there, then you can get into this spot. But if you don't, if you get there and then your team will, and then the enemy team all gets there and you try and leave, you're going to die. Yeah, that's why I don't really like going into here. But from here, as you can see, you can shoot anyone that you can get your eyes on, especially that point there. Blind fire, this spot here, because as you can see, you can line it up with your minimap kind of reticle thing, minimap line of sight, and then shoot across there, or shoot, whatever. There'll be plenty of targets for you to shoot at. They just got to get spotted first. And once you see people are rushing in, don't leave yet, because you can actually hold this corner pretty well. And as long as you have people behind you, you can do some pretty decent damage. So yeah, from this spot as well, you can do some good damage and good spotting on anyone that's around there. So yeah, there's plenty of spots here that you can actually use. I'll quickly show you the other side, and then we'll move on to, the other side, so for the enemy team, this bit, and then move on to this side of the map. Because this side is a little bit, Okay, so, for the other side, as I was already going to tell you, you just go along here. Honestly, as you can see, that is the position we said about with the medium tanks, so you're pretty exposed there. This side is a lot more exposed than the other side, but you can go hold down on some spots like up here, and be pretty safe. Obviously the 277 doesn't really have gun depression, so you're going to have to make how you want it, and try and deal with the gun depression as you can. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this side. Yeah, it's just along here. Like, to be honest, I don't even know why I just showed you this. Like, it's exactly the same, but just along this bit, and you don't really have anything. The one thing I will say is that you can push this hard. And if you push this hard with a platoon, and take this area here, which I was saying about, then you can actually make this work for your team pretty well. Another thing is that this down here is also pretty hold down. So you can try and get some lucky bounces or whatever. I mean, it's not completely hold down, as you can see. So keep that in mind. But yeah, overall, either rush this or just sit back and just try and pick off people, and that works for both sides. Okay, so for the other side, this, I don't really know what to even tell you, to be honest, because for some tanks, it really does depend on your tank. A 277 can quite happily go up there, and around into this spot, and just side scrape, do whatever. As you can see here, if I go around like this, you'll see that there's a lot of bushes and a lot of rocks to actually keep you cover. Now, I've gone here before and done great damage, had a good game. The only problem is that it's quite exposed, and you've got to expose a lot of your tank to get shots on people that are around here. And if anyone's sitting over there, this is a lot of tank to shoot for just trying to shoot someone like that. So really, you can either go back, wait until this is completely solid, but you're going to have to go back quite a bit, and then you can shoot through it and shoot the tanks that are over there. Do not try and shoot people like this. You need to be at least 15 meters away from this bush here for it not to get you spotted. So go all the way to the back, and then you'll be able to shoot through without any issues. You can also use this rock, for example. If you go back here, then you can actually use this rock. It's kind of hold down, shoot through it, go back. You can keep you're then relatively safe from artillery as well, and anyone else that's trying to shoot you. You just keep popping in and out, take some shots, go back. The reason why I say this spot is a little bit is because I never really know where to go, and the problem is with this side is this bit is super open. If you go like this and you want to try and push this, you'll be able to easily shoot anyone that's trying to push this side into here to try and counter out that position over there. So if they cross this lake bit here, then you'll be able to shoot them. But the issue is that if you get, the more and more that you move up, the more and more spots that you are then open to the point where if you've pushed all the way up to right on their corner, yes, you're safe and behind, but you can then get shot from 1, 2, and then anyone else that is around here. So 3 positions, and not to mention, if anyone comes down from here and just torpedoes you, you're going to die. So there's not a lot that you can really do, which is why I say it's a little bit however, if you're on the opposite side and you have actually got this position, you're relatively okay. The only thing that you need to watch out for is this spot here. You're not going to get spotted. Sorry, they're not going to get spotted if they're shooting you. However, we now know that they don't really have a shot on you unless they are right into this corner bit here, which is going to be roughly there. That, as you can see, there's another bush there that you might have saw earlier. That is where they'll probably be shooting you from, which is roughly around here. Okay, so just blind fire that, and if you've got the indicator that shows you exactly where it is, then you can line it up, shoot through there, and you'll get some damage done. If they're idiots and they've gone too far forwards and then they shoot, you'll spot them anyway. So there's that. But from this position here, the only thing that you really have to be careful about, apart from this here, is this bush all the way over there. And I'm going to show you that for TDs later on, but that bush is insanely good. Especially just to get some damage done. You'll be able to see anyone that's peeking over here and anyone that's peeking on this corner. Anyone that overpeats as well, you'll have easy shots on them. So I will show you that later in the TDs. But this is mainly heavy tanks. You just brawl. If you don't have a heavy tank that can't brawl, you're kind of in a bit of an issue on steps. Honestly, just go behind this rock if you can't really brawl. And it works exactly the same as kind of that spot over there, where you can just take shots, pull back, take shots, pull back, you know. Keep just being annoying and trying to hide as much as you can. But yeah, that's heavy tanks. Not really too much else to say. I'm not going to continue waffling on. But yeah, decent enough spots to get you going. And finally for the TDs. Now the TDs are going to be just situated around, wow, that's still a bug, around here. Honestly, if anyone does actually know what is causing this issue, every time I press control or escape or anything, the first time that I do it, it will just cause massive lag and freeze. So if anyone does know a fix for that, then tell me. It's only World of Tanks, and I've reinstalled the game. I've played without mods. It still does it. Completely stock standard World of Tanks, it still does it. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, the TDs are going to be over here. In any of these bushes, honestly, any of these that you want to choose. Yeah, just pick a bush, you sit in it, you shoot. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can go over to that kind of place over there, like we've already mentioned. But yeah, overall, just for this kind of side of the map, exactly the same as for this bit. There is a spot over here, which I'll quickly show you now, which is this spot here, where you can either go and knock down this tree. If you knock it forwards, like this, you can actually make it so that it will fall down in front of this rock. And then you have another little bit of cover. So you can go all the way back. You can even knock down all of these trees as well, to give you even more cover. So you could push them down like this. And there you go. But yeah, if you're in something like a UDES or an S1, just go here, go all the way to the back. And then you're easy farming damage anything over there. The exact same for this bush here. You just go behind it, you're done. But yeah, exactly the same. Just pick a bush, sit behind it, or go up to here. Either works. And that is for this side of the map. One thing that I will mention quickly, that I didn't in the medium tanks, you can fall back all the way up to these bushes up here. The only problem with that is if you only do this if you're losing. There's no point going there at the start of the game, for example. I'm not going to show you them because they are literally, you just go up a hill when you're there. So yeah, either this one over here or this one over here. You'll be able to shoot people that are coming down through here or through here. It gives you good vision. It's a bit like this position over here, but just the opposite side. And you don't really have hard cover as much. But yeah, I'm not going to show you them just because, well, I'm kind of showing you them now, but you just go up to them and go into that bush or that bush. Whichever one you want to choose. But yeah, we're now going to move over to this bit and I'm going to show you this bush over here. Okay, so at the back here, this is the bush that I was telling you about. You just go to the back here and you shoot through this. This is stupidly powerful. As long as you are far enough back, you're never going to get detected, no matter what tank you're in. Just go all the way to the back and then shoot through this bush here, and you'll be able to see, as you can see, anyone here, and anyone here. It's stupidly powerful. If you're in a TD, just go here. You'll get some easy damage, especially you can get the first shot off on anyone that is going across like this in the open, as we've already talked about. But yeah, also you can go forwards a little bit and shoot anyone in this bush here that has decided to go up there. And yeah, it's just a solid bush. I'd recommend this bush a lot to anyone. There is also, you can go up the top of this kind of rock formation here. Although it's not the best cover, just because you can get shot from quite a few places. For example, if you go up here, there's no bush. You can knock down the tree to try and give you some cover like that. But the tree doesn't actually go all the way because it will only rest on solid terrain. Because this terrain goes up, it thinks it's then safe. And so it's going to get stuck like that up against the rock. But yeah, you can go up here. I wouldn't really recommend it. Only go up here if you are in something like a 268 version 4 maybe. And then you can actually shoot down on people. And they'll still have trouble because your lower plate is like a tiny sliver of actual penetrable armor. But there you go. That is pretty much steps. Yes, I didn't talk about too much up here. I don't want people just to go up here right at the start of the game. It's no point. But yeah, you can fall back to this position. Also, heavy tanks, you can fall back to this and behind the railway. You can also go behind these rocks, try and just get some cover. But that's not so much, you know, the map. That's just more common sense. Like, if you're losing the fight, you're not going to go back and sit in the middle of the open field, you know. You're going to go back and you're going to want to dig in behind some cover. But yeah, that's steps. If you did enjoy this video, then you know what to do. And make sure you subscribe, because that really does help me out. And we're pushing for 1k subs. We're currently at 960 something, I believe. So yeah, we're getting stupidly close. So please subscribe if you did enjoy this video. It really does help me out. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.